Yes, now it's recording. Okay, so I want to welcome everybody who's joined us for this session. We are waiting, we will not wait for anyone, sorry, but we will just, they will join us and pick up as we go along. So my name is Matilda Masano. I am the project manager for CESO on the ARISOC project. So this project is made possible courtesy of the French Embassy. I want to welcome each and every one of you to this session. Our session today is on the creative and innovative ideas for startups in Kenya. So basically what we're going to touch on is the ideas that have come up and how startups are actually navigating this, the entrepreneurial space. So to just start us off, I want to welcome each and every one of you. Thank you so much for making time, and thank you for supporting us in these sessions, in our online sessions. I want to just welcome Bill, our intern, to say a word of hello, and then I pick up from there. Bill, karibu.
Hello, everyone. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning, everyone. And again, welcome to today's iTalk. And my name is Bill Kipkwech. I'm the Information and Communications Intern at Social Enterprise Society of Kenya. And I'm looking forward to the engagement today. Hope you're all okay. I'll give it back to Matilda. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bill, for that. So I'll just now pick up from there. Let us move on to a brief introduction. So this session is part of what what CESOC felt was important for us to engage our members in. So the iTalk is part of our internal planning, whereby we wanted to disseminate more information to our members and just to let them know that we are trying to get information out to them. So today's session, being on creative and innovative ideas for startups in Kenya, is going to look at how enterprises, especially startups, our focus is on startups, because we know that some of us still start other organizations and other enterprises. And so it is important to know even how we navigate that space. So to begin us off, I will just briefly describe what the term startup means. So this refers to a company in the first stages of operation. So a startup is something that is actually at the beginning, like the term implies. Then they are founded by one or more entrepreneurs who want to develop a product or service for which they believe there's demand. So most of you who are entrepreneurs, you started at that stage. So you had an idea, you wanted either to produce something or to provide a service, and then you came up with your organization. So these companies generally start with high costs and limited revenue, which is why they look for capital from a variety of sources such as venture capitalists. So basically, when you start a company, at times just the registration, getting your strategic plan in place, finding your mission, your vision and all that, those actually have cost implications. And so sometimes it is quite costly. And so we find that it is important for us to understand how to navigate these areas. So in short, the term creativity, because we are looking at creative and innovative ideas for startups, the term creativity is the ability to create a new and potentially valuable idea in any activity. So it could be in any sector, in any field, in any market. Then innovation is the process of transforming these ideas into a commercial reality, such as maybe testing the idea, measuring it, learning and sharing the idea so that you can improve on it and come up with a proper product for your specific market. So that said, I would now like to welcome our panel. Our moderator for today is none other than Wangare Kabiru of Wasiliana Hub. Wangare, karibu sana. Our panelists, we have Lucy Mwigai from B-Lab, and then we have Geoffrey of Golden Boots, and then we have Mary Karoki of Onja Foods. So they will go deeper into explaining who they are and giving us further introduction. But for now, I want to hand the session over to Wangare. Wangare, karibu sana. You can take over.
Asante sana, Matilda, and it's always a delight to be able to connect with the Social Enterprise Society of Kenya community as we explore just how social enterprise can be able to be part of the development of our nation, Kenya, and also, most of all, be able to support the dreams and the ambitions of many entrepreneurs and further on in developing our nation. As Matilda has highlighted, that our focus today is on startups, and the emphasis is so that we are able to look at startups while still in the context of micro, small, medium enterprises. Today's conversation is on startups. And you notice that from Matilda's presentation, introduction, that the startups are in the first stages of operations. They are normally founded by one or more entrepreneurs who want to develop a product or a service for which they believe there is a demand. They believe there is a demand. These companies generally start with high costs and limited revenues. I believe quite a number of the peers who are in this conversation, this resonates with you. Again, an emphasis in the introduction by Matilda is, which is why they look for capital from a variety of sources. These sources may be venture capitalists, angel investors, financial institutions, the 3 Fs, family, friends, and fools. And so I believe when we have this context, then now we are able to focus on the startups. With that, allow me to invite our panelists to please set themselves so that we can be able to have them introduce themselves. I will start off with our first panelist, and this is Lucy Mwigai, who is the head of operations at B-Lab East Africa. Lucy, good morning to you today.
Morning, Wangari. Morning, everyone. I'm so glad to be here.
Wonderful. And yeah, thank you. It's a delight to have you here. I know B-Lab is one of the partners to the social enterprise movement in Kenya, and also CESOC itself. And if you may just introduce, as you introduce yourself, just also tell us about, a bit about B-Lab. And we understand that you have big corporations. I mean, what does that really mean? And what does that mean for startups? Lucy?
Thank you, Wangari. Head of operations at B-Lab East Africa. So B-Lab is a not-for-profit organization redefining business success in Africa. So our network creates standards, policies, and innovative tools for businesses. And we are going to go into more detail as we continue. And we also certify organizations that are called B corporations that are leading the way in creating a positive impact in both society and environment. So these certified B Corps are B Corps that, again, I say they are profitable and purposeful. They go through, complete one of our tools. They work on our tool, one of it called the impact assessment. Again, I'll discuss more later. They go through a very rigorous verification process with one of our analysts so that we are making sure that the impact that you are saying you're creating, you're actually doing. And then at the end, you actually become now certified as a B Corp. We have over 4,000 B Corps globally. And in Africa, we have slightly over 50 B Corps, and we can discuss more in detail. Thank you again.
Okay. Asante sana for giving us an understanding or a bit of an insight, and we look forward to just understanding more as we go on B Corps, and also just appreciating probably why Africa has only 50, what it takes us to, you know, get the many more as part of the conversation on being creative and innovative. And yes, what we do appreciate is that the B Corps are profitable and they are also purposeful businesses. With that, allow me to invite our second panelist. And our second panelist brings quite a hybrid of who he is. And this is Geoffrey Bushiri Gatitu. Geoffrey is a senior manager at Safaricom Business. And he's also the CEO and founder of Golden Boots Africa Limited. He is also the CEO and founder of Ripuripu Solutions Limited. Geoffrey, may I invite you to please tell us a bit more about yourself and also just a highlight on the enterprises that you are part of. Karibu, Geoffrey.
Thank you very much, Wangari, and also thank you, Matilda, for organizing this session. And just like Lucy has said, I'm also glad to be part of this session. And very quickly, I think you've already done part of my introduction. Yes, where I work on a day-to-day is Safaricom as a manager in the enterprise division. And I think as we go on, I think you know how innovative Safaricom is. So I thought to include that in my profile so that we can use it as a point of reference when you're talking about innovation. But outside of Safaricom, I'm also an entrepreneur, and also I think it's a reason why I'm part of this discussion with the SSOC. I run two companies that I founded. One is Golden Boots Africa. It's a youth football academy where we provide you know, a football to young people and help them to grow their careers. And you know, moving forward, I'll be talking about how we are working with partners, especially from Germany, to see how we can bring technology as a part of innovation to make the sport even more interesting for the young people. But outside of that, I also have started another company. It's called Ripuripu Solutions. It's a technology company, and I think given time, I'll also be giving highlights of what we do at Ripuripu, but it's also a very innovative startup. Thank you. Back to you, Wangari.
Okay. Asante sana, Geoffrey, and yes, we're looking forward. And also, I think we have a great opportunity as you make your presentation to be able to just infuse in about the organizations that you are part of, just how they have been innovative and creative, or a representation of that. With that, allow me to invite our third panelist, and that is none other than Mary Karoki, who is the founder of Onja Foods. So don't you worry, it means that at 12 noon, as we finish this conversation, there's a great meal served by Onja today. So karibu sana, Mary Karoki.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Karoki. I am the founder of Onja Foods. Onja Foods is in the startup phase, heading to the next phase. Yeah, so what we do, we process gluten-free products, flours, and pastries that are sourced from smallholder farmers. Yeah. So currently we're serving the B2C, but are looking to increase our market to the B2B section. Thank you.
Okay. Asante sana, Mary, for your introduction. And I believe that with your introduction, we actually can hear from you the fact that you're looking to see how to enhance the commercialization of the product or service that you have. And that's part of what we got as a definition on innovation. So colleagues and friends, just to highlight to you the way our session will run. Right after this introduction, we will have a presentation by Geoffrey, and this is a presentation on innovation. Please get your paper, your pen, and your sketch pads, and just make sure that you're very present for this presentation. This presentation will go on for the first 25 minutes of this session. And then from there, we will now move to interrogation of the presentation together with other areas of exploration by our panelists. So Geoffrey, we would like to invite you now to be able to start off with your presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Wangari. Just give me a moment, I share my presentation. But also, as I share my presentation, I think that this discussion, as a context, I think it's a very timely discussion, given the fact that Kenya is known, I think it would be fair to say that Kenya is a Silicon Valley of Africa because of all the innovations that happen in our country. So as I share this, I don't think that I'm an expert in this area, and I don't think I'm an authority. I think we are just here to share ideas. I also don't have, answers to all the questions that I'm sure our participants have on their minds. So it's a discussion. I'll just share from my experience and from my knowledge, having been in this industry for a bit of time, just for us to be able to see what value we can create for each other. Just give me a moment. So it will be highly encouraged, and I'm sure this should go through Wangari. She will approve it, that you can pack your questions, or maybe even send some through the Zoom platform. And if time allows, we can answer some of them, or maybe with the follow-up from Wangari, we can also provide answers to some of the questions we'll be able to answer here. So in a second, you can confirm that you're able to see my presentation.
So Geoffrey, as you're coming up with the slides, and yeah, we can see it coming up. For all the participants, please feel free to drop into the chat your comments, your insights as the session goes on. We learn by sharing with one another. So Geoffrey, we are ready for you. You may kindly just share again.
Oh, it's gone.
Yes. Now we see you.
Sorry.
Yes, so now you can get us into the presentation mode, the full presentation mode, and yeah, we are ready to go.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think Matilda did a fine job of first of all defining to us what a startup is. But there are many schools of thought about what a startup is, because globally, when you talk about a startup, it's the likes of Facebook and Uber, those kind of companies that came out of nowhere and they grew rapidly to provide value for mankind across the seas. So there's a school of thought that tries to differentiate between an enterprise and an innovative startup, saying that an enterprise basically is just a new business that is coming to do stuff that is already being done and already has a market, has some defined customers. So as an example, you open a salon or you open, like a supermarket. That's in the spirit of entrepreneurship. So they define that as an enterprise. You're not really doing anything new. But startups are believed in another school of thought to be innovative. They go hand in hand with the word innovative, to say that really it is something that has no customers, has no defined market, has no defined business model even. and you define it as you go. But really, it doesn't matter. I think at the end of the day, we are Kenyans. Whatever makes money for us, I think, is what counts. So I think, given that I only have 20 minutes, I'll be speaking through some of these slides. You can pick up questions. I won't necessarily read the slides. I'll just be trying to share some of my experiences and also try to reference local examples of what really a startup is, and also to give some examples of how those startups have been started and how they are growing and the value they are creating for us. So examples of startups that we all know, I do believe, that have grown rapidly over the past 20 years. I know quite a number of people in the audience are young people, but I think even Google has not been around for more than 20 years, I believe. The likes of Facebook, these are 20 plus years of innovation that we have experienced from the time they were struggling as businesses, with their founders even looking for crowdfunding and trying to even access very difficult markets like China. We all know what happened when Uber tried to go to China with a lot of restrictions by the government. But it really showed us that innovation, once an idea has come, then it can really gain momentum very quickly. And no matter what you do, then you can see that Uber is still growing. I think other examples that I think we all know of that are always in the media include the SpaceX owned by Elon Musk. And I think given the PR around what Elon Musk does, I think we all know, even children who are going to school today, we all know Elon Musk, and we all know what he's doing, with his innovative ideas, taking mankind to space. We have other innovations like Dropbox also that I think quite a number of us even on this call probably have had an experience to try, or similar products like Google Drive that are also similar to Dropbox. So let me not, I think, maybe spend too much time on this slide. I think I just wanted to to stimulate our thinking when you're talking about a startup, what exactly do we mean? And I think these are pretty good examples. Locally, we do have examples again that can also qualify as innovative startups, depending on which school of thought you subscribe to. But speaking about Safaricom, now that I have introduced myself in my profile as also being a manager at Safaricom, I think it's a company that everybody in Kenya and in the region can actually attest to the fact that it's innovative, and has made in waves across the world, even from a technology standpoint, but also in terms of also the impact that the company is having on our communities through financial inclusion, and being able to build platforms and ecosystems that everybody benefits from. You think about all the suppliers, all the agents that operate M-Pesa, services across the country and around the world. You think about the capabilities that Safaricom has brought into the hands of people who initially did not have even a bank account. And you can see the power of innovation, and you can see why it is important for us, even on this call, to really critically think about what we can do in our own space to come up with innovative ideas that can also have impact, as Safaricom has. And Safaricom, I think, has supported innovations. Maybe we do know, or probably we don't know, on this in this forum, how Safaricom has over the years been really encouraging young people to come up with innovative startups, innovative ideas, and Safaricom provides the platform for you to come and test your idea, and provides you access to a very big market of more than 30 million subscribers. So a simple idea and you can already access such a market. And Safaricom, I think, has built many different innovation hubs. I think I remember there was one that was built called the Alpha, that was somewhere in Kilimani. That was meant to generate insights on patterns of usage of M-Pesa and use those insights to create innovative products for customers. So, but again, depending again on the school of thought, when you talk about an entrepreneur, either starting a startup or starting a new business, I think it is important for us in this audience to actually look inside ourselves and ask ourselves, are we really ready to become entrepreneurs? Or if you are we ready to go to the next level? I think my fellow panelist talked about being a startup at the moment, and now she's looking at going to the next level. What does it take? Entrepreneurship is a calling, like they say. And there's a reason why they say that. It is a tough job and requires sacrifice. It requires commitment. It requires you to dedicate your faculties, to be able to actually drive your business. And if you look at even an example I have put on the screen here of Airbnb, which we all know and probably have used in the past. We all think maybe that Airbnb already a multi-billion-dollar company today, but rarely do we stop and ask ourselves, what did it take, to build such a huge company, just by 3 guys who sat down and they thought that this is an area that we can provide value. And I think I won't go through this diagram. I'm sure Wangari will share with you this slide deck for your own reference. But I think the key message around Airbnb is that it was launched 3 times and it had a lot of difficulty taking off, a lot of difficulty. I know one of the questions that we have in this forum is, how do you raise funds for your idea? How do you raise funds for your startup? If you really look at Airbnb, they had trouble also. They didn't have money at their disposal, and they kept approaching different, wealthy people and wealthy organizations to share with them their vision, which they thought was very innovative. Indeed, it was, but many a times they were turned away. And I'm sure the people who turned them away today look back and they say they lost an opportunity. So it really, even the best of ideas, as I'm saying, they do require a long-term view and a long-term commitment. So when you're talking about innovation, this is just an out of the box list of examples of what you can do when it comes to innovating an idea or innovating a startup. And I'm happy to hear that that my fellow panelist is in the area of hospitality, looking at how she can provide value through just coming up with a startup in that space. And you can see basically a startup solves a problem. That's basically what this slide is about. You really need to think about how can you provide value? How can you make life easier for people? Because we know that in the modern lifestyle, people don't want to get tired looking for things. People want to have everything, in their control from a very simple interface on their mobile phone. And we know all the capabilities, all the power that our phones are able to marshal in today's lifestyle. And so when you're thinking about an innovation, and I think this is one of the key messages I wanted to share here, is that think about how eventually your startup is going to go online. Because if your startup has no way of going online, then it probably won't last long. Because startups have one key feature that actually is very key for their survival and for their growth, and that is the ability to scale, the ability to grow rapidly. That's what really is a key ingredient of a startup. So if you're today thinking, I've already thought about an idea and I want to push it to the market, I've identified my customers, I've tested the idea. If there is no way in which you will go online eventually at some point, then you probably might just be building a business and nothing more. So I think that's a key message here. And you can see from examples here, a shopping application, that is something you can take online, a cooking assistant app, that is something you can take online, it's an app, a food delivery app. You can see all these are just apps, meaning that there's a way in which you can take them online, because you want to go beyond just your shop. So I gave the example of a salon. That relies on footfall. Footfall means people coming into your shop for you to give them a service. It will be very, very difficult and very expensive for you to grow that business outside of that initial location. It requires huge investment and so on. So, but when you're thinking about a startup, then you have to really think about, how can I go beyond my community? How can I go beyond Nairobi? How can I go beyond Kenya into the region and possibly worldwide? You can only do that if you have an ability to go online. So that's a very key message for me on startups. Very quickly, I think the key message on this slide, again, without really going into the details, is that for you, again, to be able to run a startup successfully, there are a couple of things these have been ideas that have been shared by people who have been able to run successful startups from the word go. And you have to really be able to, first of all, think of an idea. Think of a product or a service that you can provide, and then have a clear understanding of your market. Sometimes you might even want to do a market research just to ensure that there's a potential demand for the product that you're creating, and also know and analyze your competition. Though I think for me, competition here also it's subject again to a lot of different interpretations, because today, competition is coming in ways that we never thought were possible. Today, we know, even at Safaricom, where I work, that our competition is not necessarily the telecom Kenyas of this world or Airtel. Our competition now has emerged through startups to go into many different spaces, through innovative startups that are really demanding, or rather, taking up our customers. If you think about a startup like Facebook, for instance, where we provide connectivity through either mobile connectivity or through a fiber connection to your home, you find the startups you call OTTs, or over-the-top players, who come to provide value to Wangari in her home. So Wangari is Safaricom's customer, for instance. We have invested in providing a home connection to Wangari through our home fiber. But then there's another small company, and I would love to hear if there's one in this audience today who comes to Wangari and tells Wangari, I can provide you with content. I can see you have a fiber connection. I can provide you with content. You'll be able to view, TV. You'll be able to view a lot of online content through your fiber connection. So we find that in Wangari's IT, let me say budget, for her home connection, we as Safaricom providing the connectivity are only taking maybe 3 shillings out of Wangari's 10 shillings that you want to spend on this. The small startup, that is providing this content is taking the other 7 shillings, because this startup is providing value for Wangari. Wangari doesn't care about the cable. She cares about what am I getting from it. So this is just an example of what I mean by competition. And again, also, you need also to be able to develop a strong business plan, and have attended a number of sessions. Thank you, Wangari and Matilda, where you provide ideas on how we can build a strong business plans. And I think that is also part of the empowerment that I think we get from being members of SESOC. You also need to be able to reach out to others and consult widely before you go out there saying that that you're starting a startup, and hire the right workforce. If you look to my right, you'll see some of the reasons. I've listed 18 why startups fail. And right at the top there is basically, again, what I've just talked about. There is no need for your product or your service, much as you feel it's innovative, or you run out of cash that you require to be able to power your innovation. Wangari said that startups are featured by high cost initially and very low revenue. You need to have a plan of how you're going to power your startup from the stage where it is just getting started, and not even having a right team. Sometimes we think that when you want to go into a startup, that you have your own idea, you don't want to share it with people because they will steal it away from you, or you don't trust other people. But it has been proven time and again that you really need a team. You need to have co-founders that understand, that have different talent, have different capabilities from you to be able to actually go through the startup stage for your business. And I think this is information that also I think you can get once it is shared. So very, very quickly, I think these again are rules for starting a great idea for your startup. I won't read through this, but what I would love to say is you need to be passionate about what you're doing. Do your own research and you'll see that startups really the successful startups come out of somebody's passion. If you don't have a passion for something, it is highly unlikely that you'll be committed to it. So I talk about a golden boot because I love football. My son loves football, and he's actually the reason why I started my academy, and it has grown, in big leaps. And now we're providing, training opportunities for kids in 3 campuses across Nairobi. And now we are getting we are creating interest even in overseas partners who want to come and partner with us to build modern, training academies in and around Nairobi, including Konza, where it will be the main facility. I think you also need to know your market. I think I've mentioned that. You also need to understand your customers very well before you can push your products to them. And sharing your idea also, it is something that is very, very important. Bouncing it off other people who will give you genuine feedback and tell you whether this is something that can work, whether it is worth a try. Be open-minded and be ready to evolve. You've seen, even again, referring to local examples, how Safaricom has evolved over time, and yet it's not such an old company. We know how M-Pesa came on stage. We know how, if you do recall, for the people that are of my age in this forum, Simu ya Jamii, and how it turned people into millionaires. The people who latched on that product. I can see Wangari smiling. I think she probably had that M-Pesa, Simu ya Jamii somewhere. And all these are waves of innovation that Safaricom has been able to build over time, and people who see through them and they jump on and take the opportunity. We've seen how they become millionaires, even M-Pesa agents. So where can you get ideas, to innovate? Innovation, coming up with a startup where the idea has not been tried before, it is something that can be overwhelming. When you think about it, it can be confusing even, and you might feel like, I don't want to give it a try because every idea I come up with, next door, someone has already implemented it. And I know, this being Kenya, we know how that happens, that even when Uber landed in the market, before long, we had 10 other taxi hailing apps. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to know or to hear that there's one of us on this call probably who came up with one of those taxi hailing apps within no time. And you know, so, but it does not mean that you should give up. And Wangari, you can you know, wave at me if I'm over time. I'm not able to keep track of time. Yeah, thanks. So you can look at that and say that I don't want to give it a try because all these ideas have been tested. And no. I think you just need to be passionate. Wangari, if you could give me a moment, maybe just give me a second.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Geoffrey, as you handle, I'd just like to just run through, just as part of the presentation, the 10 rules for a great startup idea. And these are the 10 rules that have been given for a great startup idea. 1, you are passionate about it. Number 2, it's simple. Number 3, 1 revenue stream. Number 4, there are a few steps to the revenue. And I think in this area, as when we have Mary Karoki, it would be interesting to hear from her for her innovation. What are the steps to revenue? Number 5 in the steps, the 10 rules for a great startup idea. Number 5 is you know the customer. Number 6, you know the market. Number 7, there is a sufficiently large market. Number 8, there is an original secret sauce. Number 9, you have tried to kill it. That's quite interesting. It actually says that positive reinforcements are very easy to find, but your job in the idea stage is to find the things that make your idea bad. Then, one by one, eliminate those negatives through iterating on your idea. If we may just refresh ourselves, Geoffrey has talked about simu ya jamii. I think we don't even remember there was something like simu ya jamii, but it actually probably means, I mean, those were the iteration stages. And in the process of it, I'm not really sure, but Geoffrey will tell us whether simu ya jamii has really been killed, but actually number 9 says you have tried to kill it, and I think sometimes you even kill it. And then number 10, you are sharing your idea. That will be an interesting one to hear from innovators on your sharing your ideas. So Geoffrey, over to you for 5 minutes, and then we can proceed. Welcome back.
Thank you, Wangari. Thank you very much. I don't know who are on this slide. I wanted to just give our participants on this forum, you know, the confidence, you know, and also to tell you that you need really to believe in yourself, because in most cases when you're coming up with a startup or an innovative idea, in most cases you're alone, and even sometimes, and I'm sure you can share your own experiences of ideas that you've had in the past, and then you try to sound them off, even your most trusted colleague. You know, they discourage you, then they tell you, sorry, this has been tried before and it failed. Even in where I work, because we are really pushed to come up with innovative ideas, we have come up with a name for such people who discourage us when we have new ideas. We call them the graveyard keepers. Yeah, the graveyard keepers are notorious for telling you, don't even go there. You know, that idea was tested. We've seen people fail over and over, so don't waste your time. So it requires guts, it requires, you know, confidence, requires passion, and requires you to really be focused on what you believe is going to create value for your customers. And as you know, in these areas, in these spaces that you can see on this slide, I am sure probably you're not able to read this clearly, but these are the main areas where innovation is happening around the world, and even in environments like ours, Africa, where we do not have access, you know, to a lot of technology. when you are still able to come up with an idea in the area of say, even healthcare. And even Safaricom has been very big in this. Just the other day, we were showcasing, telemedicine to one of our customers. I should mention names because of confidentiality agreements that we signed with them. But we are showcasing telemedicine to them, and they were able to have a doctor, talk to a patient, and through just virtually, and be able to provide in diagnosis using different kinds of tools and capabilities of our telemedicine system. And also when it comes to government, for instance, again, our government, I think with the regulatory framework that really encourages and supports and promotes the growth of startups, especially in the area of technology. You have no reason whatsoever not to try your idea. Don't shy away. Don't feel like it's going to fail. Just give it a try. If it fails, learn from it, and it will be more the better to be able to go to the next idea. Today we are talking about robotics, and robotics sounds so out of this world. It sounds so technical, but it is not. Robotics process automation, you can think of that as just repetitive process where you work. There's so many things that we do on a repetitive basis. Every day you sit down at your desk and you find it's the same thing you are doing over and over. Today, you're able, and that's why we talk about having the right team in your startup. We have young people coming from universities and colleges who are now very smart in terms of being able to build small applications, both for web and also mobile phones, and they are into these things. Yeah, it's not that it's being provided in school. No, it's just that these are people who have found ways to build their own knowledge in technology. And when you are able to bring these people under your wings, then these things become easy. You're able to build small solutions that can actually grow very rapidly once you are able to find the right customer. And I will tell you also that, again, in terms of giving you the confidence, is that you just need to get it right with one customer. And if, for instance, let me give you an example. You find a solution for a circle. Think about how many circles we have in Kenya, even before you go outside of Kenya. There are over 6,000. So if you find a solution that provides value for one circle, that circle becomes your key reference point to be able to provide organic growth within the circle vertical. And all microfinance institutions will come calling, asking, can you also give us this solution? And there are so many. I wish I had time. I could give more examples, but these slides I think will also be shared with you by Wangari. I think this is just an overview of how you can come up with a business model. And again, this is since Matilda has done a fantastic job of this in the past. I don't think I need to go through this. You can look at this at your own free time. I think I want to hand it back to you, Wangari, for any questions or any other additional input you might require from me.
Asante sana for the presentation, and as you, this last slide that you're leaving us with is how to have no fear and stay motivated. I think that's just a very powerful punch for us as we are getting into now the next part of this conversation with the panelists, the other panelists. What I've found also quite interesting is we know that Safaricom has the products Masoko, the telemedicine you have mentioned, and I think as you have presented, it has become clear as to why then Safaricom, in as much as we know them as a telecommunications company, they would also have products within that, because then the innovators are developing products. Even Safaricom now is developing products that are able to serve into the markets, and they can compete on together. So thank you very much for the presentation. And at this juncture, I wish to invite our two panelists, that is Mary Karoki and from Onja Foods, and Lucy Mwigai from B-Lab East Africa, so that we can interrogate just part of what you have communicated to us. So Mary Mwigai, I will start off. I'll start off with you. And from the presentation given by, sorry, not Mary Mwigai, Lucy Mwigai, I will start off with you. Sorry about that. Lucy Mwigai, I will start off with you. From the presentation that Geoffrey has given, we know that B Corp, let me say B Corp, the B Corps are certified. Can you probably just explain to us, so what does this have to do with creativity and innovation? Because we have seen that there's quite a journey from the presentation by Geoffrey. So probably you can just share with us, on that. Lucy?
Sorry, I did the wrong. Thank you, Wangari. And again, Geoffrey, thank you so much. That was such a good presentation. I've learned so much from it myself. So as we had mentioned, certified B Corps are now organizations that are both purposeful and impactful, right? And as B-Lab East Africa, we are trying to redefine what business success means here in Africa, where, having the right structures in place, having and making sure as you have the right structures in terms of internal governance, the impact that you're creating, but also ensuring that you also have the right legal requirements. So how is this important in terms of innovativeness? Because you see, with having the certified B Corporation, especially we are seeing with markets that are companies, we have a few startups and SMEs that are trying to also get to global opportunities, global markets. When you see with those type of markets, they are very innovative. They're trying to think of how is it you can a better way of doing business. They are concerned with the story of your business. They want to know the impact that you're creating in terms of numbers, right? So as you're trying, if you're looking at a global perspective, our B Corps that actually are in the global markets are able to have this logo that is able to showcase that, we are a company that has been verified. We have good structures in place. We are creating impact. We are good for society and environment. So please buy our products. And that has worked very well for them, right? And so our work here, sorry.
Yes, please carry on, Lucy. Yes, sorry.
I wanted to say our work here at Africa specifically is to actually now be able to change mindsets and create awareness so that startups, as you start your business, as you start it off, we have tools that you can use. And I'm going to put on our chat the tools that you can use to start creating those right structures from the get-go, so that even when it comes to the point where you're trying to get funds, right? You already have the structures in place, you have the right business model, you've thought about the risks. So our tools that are free of charge, by the way, that you can actually log on, would be able to assist you create those structures. So when it comes time to even fundraise and all that, you'll be able to answer those questions and communicate the impact that you're trying to create.
Okay, thank you so much, Lucy, for that. One of the things that Geoffrey did highlight, or when it comes to innovation, is that there is a need to be able to scale very quickly. What I hear from you and what the opportunity that comes about for the B Corp certified corporations is that they henceforth have an identity that positions them globally. And I think that's a very powerful, innovative approach when it comes to B Corp, for the B Corps, and also it's a very creative targeting route for for a startup. So Mary,
another thing that I want to mention is, Wangari, is that yes, it also makes it easier to also fundraise. We actually have a B Corp that was founded in 2016 that just got funds just on Friday. Yeah, so it also makes it easier for you to be able to communicate global and also get funds to scale, depending on what you want for your business. Obviously, it could be local or global. Definitely, it's up to what you want. Thank you for that.
Amazing. Thanks for just adding on to that, because yes, the aspect of what are innovative approaches that startups can use to be able to fund, to raise funds. I think this becomes, just a secret that you have shared with us. I mean, one of the things is that from the 10 rules is that there's some secret sources, and I think that's just one that you shared with us. So thanks for adding on to that. Mary Karoki, as an entrepreneur at Onja Foods, and also just your experience being a startup, and you are now moving to the next phase of your startup. One of the things that has also come from the presentations is that we have iterations. Version 1, version 2, sometimes version 5, and version 1 and version 5 of the same entity or product don't look the same. I just highlighted when I was saying about simu ya jamii. When we imagine that we used to now go to the simu ya jamii, it started off even before that when we had telecom with the telephone booths. I mean, those we can take as iterations of the same innovation, communication. So what are the common pitfalls that startups should look out for? And then also, just before you highlight on that, you could probably just tell us the stages that Onja Food has done it on, as we are also understanding the different revenue or the revenue streams that you have. Mary?
Thank you so much. So our journey began from another venture. Previously, we used to do cleaning business. Then we started doing grocery deliveries. That's when we interacted with a gluten-free flour. And from there, we were able to see the health benefits around this and the availability. We were able to see the loopholes that could be products had not really been offered in the market. So what we quickly did, we aligned our business with the food security and gluten preventative nutrition. So providing now that. So when we began, we got incubated and we were able to be trained at Kirdi on how to do it. Then later we began with one flour and one starch. But now after we interacted with our customers and they were like, you know what, we need this and this. So we added other products. But this later now, I'll talk about it in the pitfalls, which really interrupted our revenues. I'll talk about it later. So then later, we started offering pastries from the gluten-free flour. So we continuously added value to our products. So that's how our journey has been. And now we are looking to get now one facility and now offer it, and we are re-strategizing around the marketing. So one of the things I even captured from the presentation that was done earlier was something like a cooking assistant, as in to go online, it could be cooking assistant app, as in that would be really cool. We'll give it an idea, a thought about it. So some of the pitfalls would be, like for us, what we did, we really did a lot of products. And some, of course, the customer had informed us they needed this, but the return on investment was not really there. So we got into financial crisis. So some of the things we've been doing is to narrow down to what exactly, yes, is needed, but what exactly also gives us like a return on investment. So yeah, I don't know if I answered correctly.
Yes, thank you very much, Mary, for sharing. And I mean, it's quite insightful, because you've actually journeyed with us, explained to us the context that we're talking about on the iterations. You say it started off as a cleaning, and I think this is now when probably it's the entrepreneurship bug that has gotten into either yourself or the founders, and you started off in cleaning, you move on into distribution of food, and then now you moved into being able to now develop the gluten-free flour that you have right now. And just in this conversation, as Geoffrey has made his presentation, and it's what I'm just about to go back to him on, you have highlighted, Mary, that the idea of, online food chef assistant is something that you have as an idea. So I believe that Geoffrey and yourself can probably advance on with an exchange after we've had this conversation. And so Geoffrey, allow me to now come to you in 1 minute, and just, if you can just blend for us together. What are top ideas and opportunities that occur for you? And they could be in the value chain, or really just products or services that never existed, that we can call, our own village, our home opportunities around across Africa. We have the African Continental Free Trade Area that is expanding the market across Africa, and then also globally. So in a minute, what are just, the ones that you can toss for us? As you notice, we have our pens with us, and we're already getting ideas like, the online chef. Geoffrey, over to you. Geoffrey, you may kindly unmute.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think like you said, Wangari, there are so many opportunities that are accessible to us, being business people, being entrepreneurs, and being people who are interested in creating value for our customers and our communities at large. And these opportunities lie in all the sectors, including health, even agriculture. Just to give you an example, M-Copper came out of the need for people that the people require to have lighting in their houses, but they don't have an electricity connection, and yet we have solar all around. So someone saw solar has been there for long. I think for many years, even before most of us were born. Solar technology was there. But just someone coming up with an innovative idea and saying, look, we have many poor people that cannot afford, electricity, and yet we have a technology to come up with a product. That product, they also can't afford it. Yeah, so you come up with a lipa kidogo through the M-Copper platform, and people are able to use first of all, solar energy, and secondly, they're able to pay for it in small bits. And once they've completed the payment, that technology, they own it for life. So that is in the area of solar. When you talk about even health, there are startups that have come up with simple ideas to even monitor, just an application to monitor like how TB patients, how they adhere to their treatment regime. Are you taking drugs at the time you're supposed to? And that has a huge interest even for government. It has a huge interest even for other stakeholders like World Health Organization, because they know as a TB patient, if you're not adhering to the treatment regime, then you are a risk even to the community. So, and a simple application just helps that person to keep track. Another simple idea, again, these are local ideas. I'm not talking about ideas in the US or China. These are local ideas. It's just that I can't name, the innovators behind them because of confidentiality agreements. Someone else comes up with a simple application to help pregnant women, to monitor or their health and the health of their baby. A simple application. I'm seeing in the chat someone talking about one of the rules of a startup is that it needs to be simple. For it to be able to grow rapidly, that's a very, very critical ingredient for a startup. It needs to be simple. A simple application to help women to monitor their pregnancy and ensure that they go for the clinics, they ensure they're able to do all the nice things, including nutrition. So I know we are pressed for time, Wangari, but I think if we maintain, correspondence, I think I can share more ideas that you can again send to the participants.
Yeah, thank you very much for the sharing on that, Geoffrey. And I think one of the contexts that you have highlighted is that these ideas that you're talking about are solutions to what we can call social issues. And it means then as we or as the entrepreneurs or as the persons who are startups look around society, we are able to pick what are the challenges within our society and be able to respond to them. So as we get into the closing, I'd like to invite Lucy Migai from B-Lab to kindly just give us the context of now sustainability of ideas, the sustainability of the idea, from the context of what are possible risks and how to mitigate on the risks, resources and funds mobilization, and that you've actually highlighted to us when you talked about a big corporation being able to access funding just by being part of the network, but most importantly, if you can kindly just speak to us on just how can our ideas be sustainable when we plug into the Kenya Vision 2030, the Sustainable Development Goals, and when our mind as entrepreneurs goes to the context of impact. Kindly, Lucy.
Thank you. And if you look at the chat, I'd already started typing some tools, and that's because I know we are pressed for time. So as I had mentioned earlier, what B-Lab has also done, as we create standards and frameworks, we've also created tools for organizations to use to start their journey on sustainability. So we have two tools in particular, and again, as I said, they're free tools. There is one that's called the B-Impact Assessment, and this is for any organization that wants to streamline their operations. Any organization that, irrespective of size, when you started, we actually say start there. Create a free account or open up an account for your business and use it to be able to see where are the loopholes, where can I create more structures, and you can actually use the tool to go set. You're able to be able to access best practice guides. So again, as I said, as long as you're using the tool for yourself, it's free, right? So please get ahead and use that. And then we also have another one for companies that want to align themselves with their SDGs. More and more, we are seeing funders and investors wanting companies to be able to communicate their impact and how are they aligned to the SDGs, the 17 SDGs. So these two that I've also put on the chart and the link, it's called the Sdg Action Manager, will be able to assist you to align yourself to the SDGs. And again, you don't have to align, there are 17 in total, you don't have to align yourself in all of them. Just start by picking one. In fact, we usually tell companies the maximum you should be choosing is 5 because you already have your day-to-day operations that you are working on. But you'll be interested to know that as you're working on it, there is an SDG you're actually impacting. So use that tool to see how can you align yourself. And the beauty about that tool will also be able to show you where are your risks. How do you mitigate those risks? How we have actually broken down the tool is how do you improve on your business model? How do you improve on your day-to-day operations? And also, what are the risks associated with that specific SDG? How do you mitigate them? So I would say, please use the tools. Again, Matilda already has my email. If you have any other questions, again, I know we are pressed on time. You can always reach out and usually have fortnightly sessions where we discuss these things and help companies be able to actually access the tools and see how they can benefit them.
Thank you very much, Lucy, and most of all for the openness that the colleagues who may be keen and curious may actually be able to reach out to B-Lab for support in the services that you do offer. Thank you for that. Mary Karoki, Onja Foods, we may kindly just come to you so that you can help us to just wrap this conversation. And how can we develop startupness endemic in this nation? How can we have a nation that is a creative thinking nation, a nation where creative thinking skills are just part and parcel of the nation? And that's what we are really calling a startupness endemic. Mary, what would be your recommendations?
I think it's constantly looking for the loopholes and working towards those loopholes. Like, what do your customer need? How can you better offer you your service. That will keep you on toes and will keep you moving to better your service. And yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mary. And I think from you is that how do we keep making the services better and better as an enterprise? And to now be able to wrap up on this particular segment, I would like to invite all our panelists, and we will just have them give us their closing remarks. We have a question on our side as to whether we should be innovating in which particular way in the terrain that we are in, whether to innovate fast, simple, and in a low risk way, whether to innovate in a moderate way, or whether to innovate in a steady, complex, and high risk way. We will do a round robin. We will start off with Lucy Muigai from B-Lab East Africa, then come on to Geoffrey Gatitu from Golden Boots Africa, and then Mary Karoki for your comments of Onja Foods for your closing comments. Lucy Muigai.
Thank you, Wangari. Quick one. You want us to answer on the question that you just asked, right?
Yes. What are your thoughts on in innovating? Do we do it quick or do we do it slow? Or I mean, what really just occurs to your mind when we think about the terrain or the approach?
It definitely depends on, and I think Geoffrey mentioned part of this is one, passion, and keep it as simple as possible. And again, as Mary had also mentioned, is, trying out very few things, and depending on how the market takes on to it, you'll be able to move fast. But sometimes it also depends on how the market takes up the innovation. You'll have to go back to the drawing board and amend it. So I honestly think it all, in my opinion, I think it all depends on, again, once you've done it, how the market has responded, trying out the different ideas and seeing, can you move fast or can you move slow, depending on how the market has.
Okay.
Wangari?
Thank you very much. Yes.
I have another meeting.
Yes, thank you very much, Lucy, for your comments, and also thank you for joining us for this particular section. And we really greatly appreciate. And colleagues and friends who are in this conversation and those who are listening later, please note that you have an open invitation to be able to connect on with B-Lab and also look at the insights that have been given in the chat from B-Lab. So Lucy Muigai, asante sana. We come over to Geoffrey Gatitu from Boots Africa for your closing comments, kindly.
Yeah. Thanks, Wangari. And I think to your question, I think really starting simple, I think is usually the proven way of being successful as far as startups are concerned. And you only become complex once you have what we call a platform, once you have what we call an ecosystem. And complexity should not be on the front end, should not be on the customer's end. Where your customers are concerned, you need to keep it as simple as possible. But on the back end, even when you look at startups like Facebook, they have built very complex ecosystems. You can't start there because it's expensive. I think you need to start simple. And to your other question of what we can do locally here in Kenya, I think we should be bold enough to even create a movement of innovation. And this is something that Wangari, I think, can be a challenge for us as members of CESOC, where you build a community of innovators, where people are assured that when they share the idea, then the idea is protected and no one will steal it from them. Because once you do that, then you're going to create interest and you're going to find people who can actually build your idea to the next level. And I put on a comment there. Normally, as business people, you may not be able to really come up with the design of a product or even to build it. So if you can afford as a startup, have a team of developers, because I've said most startups have a technology angle. And just like Wangari said, that you should be able to see the problems that we face in the society, in our communities, and provide innovative solutions that will guide you on what you can innovate. But then when it comes to building a product, have the right workforce behind you, because then they are able to now put it all together and provide you with a product that you can push to the market. Thank you, Wangari.
Okay. Asante sana Geoffrey from Golden Boots Africa for joining us. And yes, we love football. On the side, I will have a conversation with you because I've actually run a football team, and I can share with you my days of doing that. So Mary Karoki, asante. Mary Karoki of Onja Foods, we may kindly hear from you, as an entrepreneur, especially in manufacturing, in production, what are your thoughts on the terrain either you're operating in, and what you would advise to startups? Mary Karoki?
Okay, thank you so much. In the manufacturing sector, especially food and in flour, I think it should be moderate. Like, you should go step at a time, one step at a time. And also, the advice I would give in this sector is just to be innovative. Like, many people are offering, could be this product, but you have to know how best will you offer it. And also now, as it was said before, going the online way. I think that's where you'll hack it. And yeah, thank you.
Okay. Asante sana, Mary Karoki, and we look forward to be able to just hear the journey of Onja Foods. Allow me to just invite you to share with us. There's an award that you've been nominated in, Mary Karoki. If you may just kindly highlight to us in 30 seconds what the award is on, and congratulations to yourself and Onja Foods. Kindly.
Thank you. I was nominated for Tony Elumelu 2021. It's a seed capital. It's a grant for startups. Yeah, I was humbled, and we are happy. At least we'll get to the next stage, and inspire more people, and also mentor more people in this journey. Yeah, thank you. I'm surprised that you know.
Congratulations. You should know that, we should know, it's our job to know some of these things. And I think really just for everyone, I just encourage you to just, throw in an emoji I'm just putting an emoji, because it's really a major achievement to Mary Karoki and Onja Foods. What she's probably not tying in is that she's a millionaire. There's some millions. The award comes with something it's called a million. And congratulations for that. And I really now get it when you say that you're moving to another league, because then it means that financial boosts through the Tony Elumelu Foundation award then can allow you to move your services to another level. And I think, as we said earlier, there's an opportunity for you now to speak with Geoffrey, who, the digitalization context, he really has great understanding on it. And very soon we're looking forward to this talking about the Onja online chef. So with that, karibu sana. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for joining us for this session. This is our session that has been hosted by the Social Enterprise Society of Kenya. And the session is being hosted on the 23rd day of November in the year 2021. Our session today was focusing on the area of creativity and innovation and innovative ideas for startups. And in reflection, when we look at the Kenyan national anthem, in the second and third stanza, amkeni ndugu zetu, tufanye sote bidii, tuungane mikono pamoja kazini, kila siku tuwe na shukrani. It's with gratitude that I do hand over this session to our host for today, Matilda Maseno from SESOC, and also Billy Koech, who's also from SESOC. Asanteni sana, Mary Karoki from Onja Foods, Geoffrey Gatitu from Golden Boots Africa, and Lucy Migai from B-Lab East Africa. Matilda Maseno, over to you, and thank you for having us today.
Thank you so much, Wangari, for the great work. Thank you, Mary, for representing, and we hope to get that Tony Elumelu grant. Thank you, Geoffrey, for those great insights, and thank you, Lucy in absentia, for the great sharing. So I just want to remind everyone who's in this session that this is actually our last iTalk for the year, but it is not the last event that we have. In the chat, I've just posted a link for registration. This very week, we are having the 5th ACOSA conference, and Tangaza, Ashoka, and also SESOC, and even E4 Impact partner in making these ACOSA conferences great success. So kindly pick the link and register. The event is hybrid. It will happen on the 25th, that is Thursday, and also on the 26th, that is a Friday. So all of you are welcome to register and just be part of the conference. It is a very, it's an international conference which really delves into social entrepreneurship and the issues that social enterprises go through. So you're all welcome to join the ACOSA conference. From SESOC, we just want to say thank you for a great session. And we also want to say, feel free to ask questions and to welcome you to also give us your ideas and feedback and let us know how we can improve these sessions in future. So karibuni sana, all those who joined us, and thank you so much to our moderator and panelists. Thanks for the great work. And yeah, we now want to wish you a great rest of the month, and then an even greater December as we start the festive season. So thank you, Wangari and team, for ushering us into the Christmas mood. And yeah, so we didn't see any questions, but if there are any, then I will forward them to the panelists and they will reach out to you. So karibuni. And then with that, we just want to end the session with saying shukran to everyone who joined us, and you're welcome to continue interacting with our panelists. So thank you, everyone. Okay. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.